Welcome to another episode of Conscious Reconstruction. This is going to be a much shorter episode than
This is gonna be a
normal.
piece.
Yeah, just
Puzzle
a
piece. What can we? It's very easy for the other shows. For this, is not really that easy. It's like for late night palette, we can have like the
it was
the leftover
something.
palette. And
It was
then,
something that I had. I called it something earlier today. Like I had a clever name, and it escapes me right now. Let me think.
And then
I know I had a clever name.
Sam's Club is basically the snack bar.
No, I had a clever name. It was like I don't know. We're gonna call these stream of consciousness.
Stream of consciousness.
Because stream of consciousness is usually not something very long. It's usually something that you go through. Once you get it out, it's done.
Okay. Alrighty.
Until I can come up with the other name that I remember, because that's not it. But I'll think of that later.
Oh,
but we're here to talk about a very serious topic. There's no one else on the show. It's just me and Agent 009, aka Just Charles. Just so y'all know, he got that thing on him.
Yeah.
Sitting on the table.
But pretty much what it came down to is like Tony brought up the point, they would be incredibly disingenuous for us not to say anything, even though we definitely consume a lot of various Asian things. So assuming their culture and not riding for them, it just comes across as disingenuous and kind of bad faith.
Yeah. So if you couldn't tell what we were going to talk about, it's stopping the Asian hate and senseless violence on the Asian community based off of
coronavirus. Well, it's not really based off of coronavirus.
Shit. It's just y'all being stupid. Like,
it's really just the thing that it's the straw that broke the camel's back, but it really wasn't that. If it wasn't this, it would probably just be something else at some other point.
Yeah, it's just so crazy. It's like, this don't make no sense. And granted, I don't really look for racists to be logical, but just like, even this is just to a different level. It's like
racism is inherently illogic.
Asian Americans, keyword Americans, that have nothing to do with China, regardless.
No guarantee that they were even Chinese
at all. You just are attacking people that look Asian because of
they brought the coronavirus here,
and that's not correct.
No, it wasn't. No, it is not.
It's not the China virus or the China flu. It's none of those things.
Every plague starts somewhere.
Yeah, that's just a fact. It'd be like us. You know what it'd be like? It'd be like if we just started killing all the white people for bringing smallpox.
And they tried to weaponize smallpox too. So it's just like
y'all gotta get out.
At this point, it's
actually, y'all had smallpox. Y'all gotta go, and let's just start running into places, and that's craziness.
Most of the big plagues came from Europe. Black plague, smallpox. Hell, they brought dandelions here. Do you realize we would live inside of a dandelionless world? Dandelions were not here before settlers came over.
But yeah, it's just that's wild. But just the most recent attack was on I believe a massage parlor.
Multiple massage parlors, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, where he went in and killed like 8 people.
Yes.
Rest in peace to all families and people that passed away, and prayers to your families and all of that.
There's not really too much we can say, and no matter what we do, it comes across as like, we don't know you, but this entire situation like sucks.
Yeah, it's super fucked up.
And it wasn't random or anything like that. And what's pretty much going to happen is like it's going to lead to one, same day gun sales probably being like, I mean, it's never going to go away in Georgia because it's Georgia. Like, you can say it's somewhat left leaning right now, but it's Georgia. So it means like same day gun sales are going to be a thing, but I'm not, maybe you're probably going to end up having to do with some type of psychological screening because there was no real logic or anything like this. Because he tried to phrase it as though it really wasn't a racist attack or it wasn't a race motivated thing. And it's like, maybe there's something really wrong with you.
Yeah, and I think that there definitely should be. Like, and I'm a gun rights advocate, but I definitely think there should be a level of like mental competency check when you go to purchase a gun. And not, let's say, you don't have to take it every time you purchase a gun, but maybe every 6 months, once a year, something like that, where it's
you get his little card or something.
Yeah, continuous evaluation where it's like, okay, he's taken the class or whatever he's needed to take to be able to purchase guns still. I don't see anything wrong with that. Because
it's like when you look at this and it's just like you wouldn't have bought it the same day or wouldn't shot a bunch of people. It's just like something's probably gonna change in some way, shape, or form. I don't want people to like. It's like same day gun buying probably isn't necessarily something that should be like maintained in the way that it is. But also we need to look at the fact that it's like there's definitely something wrong with dude, and there's something wrong with America ad nauseum to have like either white nationalism, because as of this point, it's weird looking at other countries like Canada. It's like Canada, the Proud Boys are a terrorist organization. Here,
we don't know.
It's like, what do you mean we don't know? Yes. They literally attacked. They were literally a part of an attempted insurrection.
That's what my thing is. It's more of the what is going to be the response, and is there going to be like, because this is for me, I guess, deeper than just a black and white issue, and I think that it's becoming more apparent to the other races. Not to say that all of them felt
disregarded this
or disregarded, but just
it was only really a big thing
for the black people, and not to say that the Asian community hasn't experienced things like the internment camps and things like that, but on like a per capita, now it's a much more like blatant like sense of hate towards all other races.
Yeah, and it's like originally it was just like, well, this is obviously the race that we're oppressing the most. And it's just like, well, it's a black people problem. It's really not as much. It's like, if you really looked at your situation, like, it's not as much as you would think it is. Like, when people really start going back and looking at white people back in the day being dickheads about stuff, it's just like, I had it explained to me. The reason why we don't have universal health care is because former slave owners did not want black people to actually have health care, so they attached it to jobs. Yeah. That's the only reason why. And it's just like, y'all are dickheads.
Yeah, y'all can't get nothing.
It's just like, so y'all are actively cutting your nose off, and then later down, well, obviously projecting down the line, you probably wouldn't see like white people will probably make up a good portion of America. So that means obviously white people are going to be impoverished and not have jobs and shit like that.
No, it's like we all always have slaves forever.
Is probably problematic, but hey,
I think that the dude that shot up the massage parlors, should be labeled
terrorist.
Yeah, a domestic terrorist. Like, I think that they need to start labeling and
calling spades.
Yeah, because we can't just keep allowing this. And that's what, I guess, another thing that I kind of want to see like come from this is, at least if we're going to do some change, especially since we supposedly have an administration that is about more of a equitable and fair governance of all people, I guess it's the most political way I can say that.
Treating people how you want to be treated, quintessentially.
Yeah. Yeah. For the most part. So I would like to see some change.
I mean, this has definitely activated some people who normally would not be activated. Because typically with the Black Lives Matter thing, I'm not saying that you never see other minorities out there marching with Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. But this is the first time that you can really see that the picture has really skewed more than one way.
Yeah.
Because it's like, all right, well, this was definitely an attack on all of our Asian and Pacific Island brothers and sisters. So, like, this is definitely about them. And in some ways, in the Black community, I can see people trying. There are people who are putting bad spins on this in terms of like, yo, well, where were you guys when we were having all these problems? And it's just like, everyone has to grapple with these things inside of their own particular ways. And you have to understand that people who come here from other countries naturally have a conservative skew because the places they come from typically are fairly conservative. Like China, fairly conservative. Japan, fairly conservative about certain things. And it's just like, unless you come from like a European country, typically things are fairly conservative in terms of nature. So, like, heck, even a lot of the countries in Africa, you tend to have like fairly conservative like constraints and things, and fairly rigid households and family structures and stuff like that, and things are fairly well laid out and stuff like that. So, expecting everyone to come to the like we've had what 250 some odd years of struggle. Expecting everyone to be at the same place that we are after 250 years of struggle isn't really quite fair. Like, yeah, I would like some people to be a bit more situationally aware, but I don't think that's always a fair critique.
Most people are only aware when it affects them, and that's the reality of the situation. We probably wouldn't be aware, and we like to discount other people's situation as the Black community, and so I think that it's unfair, like you said, to be like, hey, you guys need to be right here at the same level that we are instantly. You got to allow people to be where they're at and hope that that changes and that evolves into something different.
Because if the circumstances are really that deplorable or really that bad as they are sometimes, people naturally generally look at it and say, that's pretty effed up. And you obviously slide that way because, I mean, it's not that Black people are the only poor people in the world. I mean, we're disproportionately poor, but in terms of the percentage of the general race that is considered to be of lower economic standing in comparison to other places. But also there's other, like every single demographic has harmful stereotypes or things. Like the stereotype of Asian people is that you can use them as the workhorse and they're not going to complain. They're just going to do all the work and they're not going to ever say anything because Asian people like doing work. And it's just like, huh?
Or I think like this guy, I guess he tried to make it out like a sex thing.
Yeah. It was just
where it's like, don't fetishize Asian women or just Asian people in general. Like
I don't think he was dealing with anybody under the age of like 40.
Yeah, so like, why are you fetishizing these women? And I think that's the same thing that happens a lot in the white community to other cultures is they fetishize dealing with us in certain ways, like how they're really like fascinated by like Black people's hair and our lips and things like that. But they don't necessarily like want to enjoy like us as a people, or where they fetishize the whole like stereotype of like, oh, massage parlors have like happy endings and things like that, which for the most part isn't true. Not to say that you can't go to them, but I don't think that's an Asian thing. I think that's just like a seedy massage parlor thing. Because I've gotten lots of massages and I can guarantee that none of them ended with a happy ending.
Well, it's just a stereo. It's something that was perpetuated throughout like movies and shit like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So it's just like they fetishize that about the Asian community, and like that was your reason to kill somebody or your claimed reason. But even that is still rooted in racism if you get down to it. So sure, you're mad that this woman refused to sleep with you, so you murdered 8 people. Those two things don't go together unless you've already decided
So
that you
the
hate
Asian
these
women
people.
just want to sleep with people, and then you're upset because you feel like every Asian person wants to sleep with people. So that means you think something's wrong with me. So I'm going to shoot this entire place up. Like what?
Yeah, so things like that, like that's
Like I can follow the train of logic, but the train of logic don't make no sense.
yeah, like no, it's very flawed. It's a very sick way to like view the world and just think about things. So I think it's a very shitty situation.
Like it's an untenable situation, and we don't really. And it sucks because it was supposed to happen in like pretty much one of the. Because from what I understand, there actually is a fairly large Asian community in Atlanta at nauseum. I think it's become a focal point for all minorities, not just Black people, because it's a place that like minorities are known to be able to flourish. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't that many places in the American South where minorities can actually go and have a shot.
Well, I knew that, but I didn't know that.
So it's like you go where the rest of the minorities are, and that's Atlanta. Like, I don't know what the Hispanic community's like in Atlanta. I don't think it runs that deep, but because that's more so a Texas thing. Once you get to Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, California-ish is more so where you get majority of your core Latino demographic from, but and sometimes New York, but everybody lives in New York, so saying that is basically throwaway. But yeah, I mean, hopefully they don't try. Like, in some ways, something tells me like something's wrong with this dude and he's not right in the head. But in some ways, I don't necessarily want him to get that as a cop out. You know?
Yeah.
It's like I look at him and say something's wrong with you, but also
that's not an excuse.
As of this point,
like no, like there is plenty of ways to go seek help, and none of those things were explored. So,
and you were very methodical about this. You went, you scouted everything out, and then you went and bought a gun, and then you went back and shot the place up. And at no point did you look at it and be like, maybe I shouldn't do this.
Yeah, so you got to be put under the jail.
And then this is Atlanta, so this is Georgia. I know they got the death penalty down there.
Sometimes I don't like the death penalty because I feel like they need to just like rot somewhere. But other times I'm like, but then we got to pay for that, so I don't want to pay for that. But then like the death penalty has so many appeals that you're still paying for it for like a really long time. So I'm like, I don't know which one's better because you got to pay for like them to go to court and like buy.
I mean, they're going to court regardless, and they're gonna probably appeal multiple times because even if you get 25 to life,
they should give them no appeals. Like there should be no like.
You're saying there should just be situations where there's like.
Yeah, like this
we know you did this.
We all know what happened, sir. There is no reason for you to come back to us and have a conversation.
I can get the first fair trial.
Yeah, we give you the fair trial, and you're gonna lose because you're guilty.
I have a right to appeal.
No. You had a right to a fair trial. This appeal shit, that is for people where
there's actually some shadows of a doubt.
Yeah, but what you got is cameras seeing you doing it, you with all the weapons, witnesses seeing you doing it.
They got you at the gun store going to buy it.
You buying the gun, you talking to us about why you did it. So, no, not in another 5 years are we going to think maybe we should let out this person that murdered 8 people. How about no? How about fuck no? How about don't come talk to me no more? How about that?
Oh, what you about to do? We're gonna throw you in the Marianas Trench. How about that?
You gotta go. Like that's just crazy.
Most efficient death penalty is just like, but is it humane? He doesn't think of people as humans as of this point.
Yeah, no, he gotta go. Like not at all. But I don't have a whole lot of other things to say about it.
There's nothing much. I mean, we should be back next week talking about Tina Turner. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, her documentary drops. The only other thing I want to mention briefly is Samir Rice, the mother of Tamir Rice.
Yeah.
She recently spoke out against Tamika Mallory and a lot of the other like lawyers and Black Lives Matter movement people.
Why?
She basically rebuked them for like using her son's face,
weaponizing her son's face to
profit. And for their agenda, and not really like clearing it and speaking with them. And so,
I mean, I can sympathize with her because God only knows that I wouldn't want to go run around and see my son's face on a shirt.
Yeah, like, no, stop doing that. Like, y'all, I don't want to continuously have to see
my son,
especially the image of like that was right when he passed away. Like, that's to say, y'all gonna keep using the same image. Like, I don't want to continuously have to relive
I don't
this.
want to live this. It was like, this is 2 years now, probably. I do believe it's been about 2 years.
Yeah, I think so. So, no, 2014. So, 6 years, 7 years. It's been a long time. Exactly. So many have happened. And it like, just feels so close.
Can we move on to the next one? Because y'all, every single time something bad happens, that's going to be there.
Yeah.
And I keep on replaying this every single damn time.
And I would really like not to. So,
it's just like,
I just want to send prayers out to the Rice family because I don't know the full situation because it got a little messy inside of there. But what I will say is I can understand not wanting
what do you mean got messy?
Based on some of the wording in her like statement, some people want to say that it sounds like she's upset because they're profiting and making money and not putting some of it back into the community. But even if that's the case, I feel like you probably should give them something if you're using...
You're profiting off of their son's likeness.
Yeah.
It's regardless of whether or not you want to say what's right or what's wrong about that, or first things first, the first thing you got to do is throw disparities at her because all she said, like, please stop using my son's face.
Yeah, so that's why I said it got messy. So I was like, I don't want to get into that. So just prayers to her family, to her. And face. Yeah, if she doesn't want you to do it, you probably should just stop doing it.
And I guarantee you probably as of this point, she's probably tried to reach out to them individually and say, can you guys stop doing this?
Yeah, so that's all I had.
I would think.
But yeah, this has been Stream of Consciousness. It's been Just Charles and your boy, Sleepy Mail Boy.
Say this has been our Stream of Consciousness.
I mean,
I'm just thinking
a stream of consciousness. Our stream of consciousness. Whatever. Y'all got the point. We out here streaming.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Later.